Hi, group. I'm popping in live today because I wanted to share some interesting metrics from my practice with you guys. And this is specifically around the idea of micro niching. And what I mean by micro niche, I want to define that first. So micro niche is basically it's a very, very, very specific niche. So a small, very well defined niche. Um, for example, and you've probably heard me talk about this before, but I advertise to law enforcement spouses. And that might seem like a relatively, very niche thing. But it is one of my best performing search terms. It's one of my best performing pages, specialty pages. And if I look at my data, I'm looking at my practice tracker right now, and I look at the data over the course of the year because I note why someone does an inquiry with me if they let me know, if they tell me in the email. And a significant number of them are law enforcement spouses or couples. And so it tells me that a lot of the people that are finding me, that are contacting me after finding me, are from this, what I consider a micro niche, right? When I look at, therapy for law enforcement spouses or therapy for police wives or things like that, that keyword term or phrase doesn't actually show up like on like Uber suggest. It has like almost a zero ranking. And in other words, like no one's looking for it. But clearly people are looking for it. It's just not enough to like breach the statistics of the monthly search terms that Uber suggests is looking for. So it's kind of below their litmus, like their minimum, right? However, a significant number of the people that contact me are law enforcement spouses. Now, I'm looking at this again, and I noticed that entrepreneurs are also one of the primary populations that people that are contacting me. And what that tells me is that being specifically advertising to entrepreneurs, therapy for entrepreneurs, counseling for entrepreneurs, those are search terms that I'm getting found for, and those people are contacting me as a result of finding me. And so I wanted to share this with you guys because I think sometimes we are afraid to get too specific with our niches. And while I wouldn't suggest having your only niche be super specific, I'm a huge fan of the synergy of broad and specific niches together. And this is where Google being creepy really helps you. Um, I have a page for general counseling for individuals. It's primarily focused on anxiety, perfectionism, things like that. I also have a specialty page for law enforcement spouses. Now, Google knows a lot about us. And that means that if somebody who happens to be a law enforcement spouse, who puts that on the internet, who searches about law enforcement related things, then goes to search for therapy for anxiety, they're more likely to find me than they are somebody who doesn't have law enforcement related stuff on their website. Because Google knows that I'm more likely to be an interesting person to them or an interesting result to them because there's more in common. Now, that's where having sort of the more therapy for anxiety general pages, right? I'm not gonna rank first page for therapy for anxiety in California. It's not gonna happen. But I can rank first page potentially. I can rank higher if somebody who is connected to law enforcement, who's a law enforcement spouse, searches for therapy for anxiety because Google knows about those things, about that person. Um, Now, that said, common recommendation is 3 to 5 niche pages, give or take. That's a pretty good number. And I like to have like a generic-ish one and like something broader to your population, and then I like to have really specific ones. So let's say you do therapy for women, but then you also want to make sure you specify moms, and maybe it's specifically moms of toddlers or moms of infants or like new moms. Maybe you're specifically targeting moms of special needs, extra needs, neurodivergent children, something like that. Maybe it's you know, stay at home moms, or maybe it's working moms. You're getting more and more specific about the kind of woman that you serve. And so you have like your general, more anxiety, depression page, but you also have these like really, really specific identity based or, problem-based niches that are very, very, very specific. And personally, I found that to work really, really well for my practice. Now, I'm going to say that within the context of I've seen some trends, some differing trends, right? I've had really consistent inquiries over the last few years, 8 to 12 to 15, sometimes more per month of inquiries. I have seen a sharp decrease in inquiries lately. And I'm really curious if anybody else has seen this as well. So let me know if you're watching this, hashtag replay. Also comment if you've seen a shift in your inquiries in the last few months. I'm down to like 3 a month right now. And most of them are coming for law enforcement, couples, let's see, law enforcement, entrepreneurs, and couples are my like primary inquiries right now. So again, it reinforces that having these really, really specific niches, when things are down, that's when they're going to come into play even more, right? So having the really, really specific niches when inquiries are down is going to make it more likely for you to get the ones that are your ideal client. I'm gonna be sending out an email later this week that covers like a lot of the specific metrics. I'm actually sharing like screenshots of some of the metrics from my website, backend, and everything, so that you guys can really see what's happening, and see even if like some of the stuff that you're experiencing is more common, sort of normalize that stuff. But anyway, back to what I was saying. The metrics are really telling me that having these really specific niches is what's going to keep things going for me. I just recently booked a client at my new rate of $375, and that was a client who's an entrepreneur looking for therapy for entrepreneurs, looking for somebody that was really, really specific, and this person has by far been like a great ideal client for me. I love working with them. And so it's not that lower inquiries doesn't mean you won't book clients. I'm still full, but I'm keeping my eye on things, right? Because this is a big change. So that's what I want to share with you guys today. If you are afraid to get specific with your niches, just remember that like having a mixture of broad and specific niches is going to serve you well in your practice. It's going to help you get those inquiries to convert, to turn into clients, to get them from visiting your website to actually contacting you because you're so specific to what they are. They're going to work synergistically with each other in your SEO. I think that's like the summary of what I wanted to tell you guys today. If you're not on my email list and you want that information, pop on my email list. You can go on my website, grab any free thing. You get on the email list. I'll be sharing specific metrics from the back end of my website later this week, along with some insights and things that I might be doing if this trend continues and if I need to be marketing my practice much more actively than I am right now. All right, guys, have a fabulous rest of your day, and I'll see you later.